I want to make it very clear that the point about Quebec not being an outlier is maybe the single most important point that we have tonight. Quebec is absolutely not an outlier. They have their own communications ecosystem, but Jordan Peterson exists for the very reason why the discourse around the Islamophobia Directorate is happening in Quebec. And it is tied to the Great Replacement theory. It is absolutely tied to this notion, this fear of loss and longing for a bygone era that the people who you were just discussing, he that shall not be named, makes their money off of. And there's the same rage machine that happens that feeds mainstream media. And I always get a kick of these guys, like talking about how marginalized and canceled they are from mainstream media from their op-ed of the National Post, for Christ's sakes. Like, it's ridiculous. But I think rather than have us spend our time chasing the tails of people like him, what we need to do is think about how we can improve the material conditions for people to not fall victim to the reactionary backlash against multiculturalism, to understand that forming radical solidarity within your neighborhoods, literally at the street by street level, being engaged and involved in your community struggles, having solidarity with people across identities and intersections is the only antidote to the isolation and economic despair that people are being fed this intellectual pablum by people like he who shall not be named. And the money to be made in that space, we only have to see it now, where the people who were the yellow vesters became the soldiers of Odin, who became the Proud Boys, who became the convoy, who are now railing against, trans story time and like 15-minute communities. It's absurd, but there is money to be made there. And unless we have a radical departure on the way in which we distribute our economy and the way in which we take care of one another and care for one another and love and try to understand one another, the isolation and despair will only continue to feed the beast that is the reactionary experience that is playing out across the country.
Okay.
And again, to just double down on this, for anybody who likes to sit outside of Quebec and think that Quebec is the problem, you're not paying attention, or you're willfully being ignorant, because this is coast to coast to coast, this issue.